Hello, I'm Kimberlie Acosta. Welcome to the Native News Update on Friday, November 19th. Many of the stories you hear here can be found at our website, IndianCountryNews.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Interior Secretary Ken Salazar is pledging to keep tribal sovereignty at the forefront as the federal government works on issues in Indian country. He addressed the 67th Convention of the National Congress of American Indians this week in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Salazar outlined issues he has been working on as the Interior Secretary, including economic development on Indian lands, improved law enforcement and education, water settlements, restoring lands to tribes, and energy programs in Indian country. He repeatedly stressed that the federal government must work with tribal governments on a nation-to-nation basis. He told tribal leaders the administration's goal is to help them fulfill goals for their own nations amid the announcement that President Barack Obama will play host to Native American leaders at the White House at a conference on December 16th. The president has invited the leaders of each of the federally recognized tribes to the event. It would be Obama's second conference with American Indians. The Minnesota Court of Appeals has rejected a challenge to Xcel Energy's plan to upgrade its Prairie Island nuclear power plant. Xcel is seeking to increase the power output of the plant and to add its spent fuel storage facilities there. But the Prairie Island community and the city of Red Wing challenged the proposed upgrades at the plant, which is next to the reservation and near the city. This week, the appeals court affirmed the Public Utilities Commission's approval of the upgrades. Xcel Energy plans to spend $600 million to add 164 megawatts to the plant's output and would need to add to its dry cast spent fuel storage there. The plan still requires federal approval. Opposing fractions within Montana's landless Little Shell tribe of Chippewa has agreed in principle to tribal court proceedings aimed at resolving their differences. Representatives of the two sides said this week that details still were being worked through an intermediary, James Steele Jr., chairman of the Montana-Wyoming Tribal Leaders Council. The 4,300-member tribe last year split into two groups, each with an elected council, after disagreeing on the legitimacy of prior elections. Leaders of the opposing groups said in recent interviews that an end to the dispute was crucial to keep the Little Shell intact. The tribe is recognized by the state of Montana, but not the federal government, which last year turned the Little Shell's 31-year petition for acknowledgement down. The tribe's members trace their ancestry to the Pembina Band of Chippewa, who in the 1860s were under the leadership of Chief Little Shell when they were offered an unfair land deal that resulted in the band leaving North Dakota. The U.S. Supreme Court won't hear a case involving the geographic makeup of city council districts in South Dakota's town of Martin. The 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in May affirmed a judge's decision to dismiss a lawsuit brought by the American Civil Liberties Union. The Supreme Court on November 15th denied an ACLU request to review the appeals court's decision. The ACLU argued that the redistricting plan adopted by the city violated the voting rights of Indians because the district's boundaries spread out Indian voters and diminished their ability to elect an Indian candidate. Should Kentucky officially recognize Native American tribes living within its borders? A Louisville lawmaker believes it should to help improve their lives. Embracing their cause is Representative Regional Meeks, who's part Cherokee. Bill sponsored by Meeks defines the term Native American and outlines strict criteria groups must meet before Kentucky will recognize them as a tribe. Meeks says his goal is simply to help improve the lives of Native Americans living in Kentucky. But one of the legislation's most outspoken opponents is Senator Damon Thayer. Thayer, who chairs the Senate State Government Committee, fears official state recognition of Native American tribes will ultimately lead to one thing: casino gambling. The American Chemical Society Scholars Program is now accepting applications for African American, Hispanic, Latino, and Native American students who are pursuing or intend to pursue a bachelor's degree in chemistry, biochemistry, chemical engineering, chemical technology, or related majors. Applicants will be accepted through March 1st of 2011. An online application form can be found on their website at acs.org/scholarships. Natalie Youngbull, a member of the Southern Cheyenne and the Arapaho tribes, and a second-year University of Arizona doctoral student in the Education Policy Studies and Practice Department, has a new role promoting higher education for Native American students. Youngbull recently was appointed a student board member for the National Indian Education Association, one of the largest organizations promoting education and resources for American Indian, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiian students. And that's the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and have a grand day.